Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Live with Roger Hanson. Today, I am here with my co-host Karma Love. Hello,
Hi
Karma.
everyone.
Hello. I always want to say hi to you before you even say anything.
I apologize.
Oh, it's not you, it's me. I should always wait. So, it's just a habit I got into. Today, our topic is conspiracy again, right? And I don't know. First, before we go further, I think we should get some feedback from you and see what your thoughts are on some of the stuff that we've gone over, and maybe discuss it for a little bit, kind of like I don't know, regrouping. You know what I mean? Kind of cover some of the stuff that we've already covered. You know, revisit, whatever. Just what's some of the conspiracies that stuck out to you?
That we've covered probably like Tesla and then the DARPA. We did that last week. That was interesting, especially when it comes to like Area 51 and understanding that.
So like on Area 51, what do you think about that? I mean,
I don't feel like it's a conspiracy as much as it is an actuality. Just especially with everything coming. I feel like though they're attempting to distract us in order for us to not like so here we go. We'll give you this story over here because we're doing something so much more grandiose over here. And it feels like that a lot of the times.
yeah,
And
that's the one thing that I was mentioning too, because I know a lot of people like to feed into the whole alien, you know, side of it, where there's secret space programs and they're reverse engineering alien technology and stuff. But I I also like to bring up the fact that, well, what if that is also a part of their cover up? You know what I mean? Like, what
mhm.
if they're using those stories in order for people to freaking not know what's really going on in Area
Right, be
51?
distracted.
Yeah, you know,
I agree with that.
um, like there's genetics, there's chemical warfare, which has been outlawed for the last 100 years since World War One. There's a lot of things that could be going on down there in that area. And then they got Mount Hood, they got Cheyenne Mountain, you know, and these all have, they call them, what are dupes, or deep underground, or dumbs, deep underground, something, I forgot what the name of them are, but just freaking facilities that run deep under the ground, you know. So,
And Mount Hood was the spot in Alaska you were talking about, right?
no, I actually, Mount Hood is right on the border of Kentucky and
Louisiana?
Massachusetts.
Oh,
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. Oh, okay.
Or Maryland, sorry. Maryland. I
Man.
keep. It's Maryland, right there where, uh, well, it's pretty close to Washington, D.C.
Hmm.
Mount Hood. That was something we did discuss.
Yeah, I remember you saying something about it, but I guess I had my because there was something in New Orleans that I felt like we talked about in St. Louis anyway.
Yeah,
But
Mount Hood is a dormant stratovolcano in the Cascade Volcanic Arc. It was formed by a subduction subduction zone in the Pacific coast. Wait a minute. I don't think this is the same Mount Hood. Let me look at the things here. Now this is all the way up in Oregon. Mount Hood. Mount Hood, Kentucky. Yeah, like wait, Yeah, they don't even have it. I might be getting it wrong on that one. I know it's a hood underground. I can find it sooner or later, but it's we. I know that it's there because whenever I was a truck driver, we used to have to deliver stuff to them, and in order to get up to the top where the installation is, you had to like go down freaking these two lane roads, and in a semi truck, it's a nightmare when it comes
Mm.
to eastern Kentucky because first of all, the terrain is horrible.
Why do you say it's horrible? Because what? The train?
No, it's because, well, see, in a semi truck, man, when you're going on two lane roads, it's it's freaking a nightmare. You have to make sure that trailer stays on the road first of all. So every time you go around a curve, freaking the trailer has a habit of sliding over to the freaking right hand side of you. So you have to keep it on the road, plus make sure your freaking semi or any other part of the semi doesn't cross the freaking center line and cause an accident. So
Oh.
yeah,
I know
it's
those little roads are difficult for those big trucks. My papa, he used to drive tractor trailers, and like a lot of the truck, I feel like that's why they started putting up so many signs that tell you, like certain areas big trucks cannot even go down because they kind of know, like, geez, especially when the road is windy, that there's a greater chance for it to lose control.
yeah, they're called DUMBs. They're deep underground military bases, and let me see. Yeah, I found that out. 30 strangest, most secret military bases. But I think they want you. Yeah, here it is. Um, the world's weirdest, most secret military bases run the gamut from hazardous mountaintop forts to seemingly impenetrable underground bunkers. Then there are the bases, on remote island tracking objects in deep space and high-tech laboratories probing the most lethal microbes in existence. The design of a base needs to address the immediate needs of a military while still being versatile enough to remain useful as threats and technology evolve. Brad Schultz, former vice president of the federal architecture at HNTB, tells Popular Mechanics what makes these active military facilities so fascinating. So, they have impregnable underground bunkers, remote island tracking objects in deep space, and that's pretty interesting. Uh, and then it says the fortress protects and gives military personnel a safe harbor from the enemy, but not all fortresses were created equal, and they certainly weren't all created the same. We look over time and distance to find the 30 most impressive fortresses from around the world and throughout history. This is off Popular Mechanics. So that is a good topic to bring up. Maybe we should talk about that. You know what I mean? Maybe at a later time. And I'll find out the name of that one that I'm thinking of because I must have messed up the name.
Oh, because it's not Mount Hood that you're referring to, but you thought it was it paralleled. I feel like it's probably on our stream from last week.
I'm pretty sure I called it Mount Hood underground military base in Kentucky. See if it pulls that up. Is there a secret military base in Kentucky? Kentucky has 3 Army bases: Knox, Campbell, Lexington, Bluegrass Army Depot, and 1 Air Force base in Stanford Field in Louisiana. Fort Campbell. Maybe that's the one they're talking about. Top secret. The military built Clarksville Base to keep the United States nuclear weapons stockpile secure. Everything about the design of the base created a high security environment. Security was the top priority and considered the job of everyone on the base. The layers of security may seem extreme now, but they were necessary. The Soviet Union sent agents from the KGB to try to get information about the possibly access to the base. The military used 2 types of security at Clarksville Base: physical security and personnel security. Location. The first layer of physical security for Clarksville Base was its location within Fort Campbell. The Army installation provided a buffer between Clarksville Base and the outside world. It was also a source of additional defensive manpower if the base was ever attacked. Perimeter fence and patrol road. Clarksville Base was separated from Fort Campbell by 4 8-foot-tall chain-link security fences. Each was topped by 2 strands of barbed wire. A narrow road located within the exterior fence encircling the entire base. Heavily armed Marines patrolled the road at regular intervals. A disturbance along any section of the fence triggered lights on tall poles to alert the Marines of a possible intruder. 3 additional fences circled the base within the perimeter patrol road. The middle fence of the 3 was a high voltage electric fence. The perimeter fence system also had audio alarms to warn guards that an intruder was trying to get inside. And I'll post this right here in the chat so you can see it. I didn't forget, I just didn't have time. I don't know how
No,
to
I
say.
understand. I'm not worried about it. I'll look at it.
But that was Fort Campbell. And I don't think that's the one that I'm thinking of, though, because Fort Campbell is above ground. I do know that much. So
What's the matter? You reading?
yeah, the Army is training and equipping 26 of its 31 combat brigades for subterranean warfare.
Me too.
That's pretty intense. Now, this one says U.S. Army leaders say that the next war will be fought in megacities, but the service has embarked on an ambitious effort to prepare most of its combat brigades to fight not inside but beneath them. Late last year, the Army launched an accelerated effort that funnels some $572 million into training and equipping 26 of its 31 active combat brigades to fight in large-scale subterranean facilities that exist beneath dense urban areas around the world. For this new type of warfare, infantry units will need to know how to effectively navigate, communicate, breach heavy obstacles, and attack enemy forces in underground mazes ranging from confined corridors to tunnels as well as residential streets. Soldiers will need new equipment and training to operate in conditions such as complete darkness, bad air, and lack of cover from enemy fire in areas that challenge standard Army communications equipment. Senior leaders have mentioned small parts of the effort in public speeches, but Army officials at Fort Benning, Georgia's Maneuver Center of Excellence, the organization leading the subterranean effort, have been reluctant to discuss the scale of the endeavor. We did recognize in a megacity that has underground facilities, sewers, and subways, and some of the things we would encounter. We have to look at ourselves and say, okay, how does our current set of equipment and our tactics stack up? Colonel Townley Hedrick, Commandant of the Infantry School at the Army's Maneuver Center of Excellence at Fort Benning, Georgia, told Military.com in an interview. What are the aspects of megacities that we have paid the least attention to lately? And every megacity has got sewers and subways and stuff that you can encounter. So let's brush it up a little bit. Left unmentioned were the recent studies the Army has undertaken to shore up this effort. The Army completed a 4-month review last year of its outdated approach to underground combat and published a new training manual dedicated to the environment. This training circular is published to provide urgent needed guidance to plan and execute training for units operating in subterranean environments. According to TC 3-20.50, Small Unit Training in Subterranean Environments, published in November 2017. Though prepared through an urgent development process, it is authorized for immediate implementation. That's pretty crazy.
I wonder how many more stations, top secret places the military has.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you. I know that there has to be a lot of them. So, I mean, I've heard a lot of people discussing that and saying that, like, they've actually been to some people even believe they have one at Mount Shasta. Because of all the controversy and everything that goes around it. And the weird part about that is Mount Shasta is a big tourist attraction. People come from all over to that mountain just to freaking have, campouts and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And there's some people who think that Mount Shasta has an underground military base underneath it. So, it's pretty interesting. Is there a military base in Kentucky? Or is there a secret military base in Kentucky? And Ernest W. Adams lived in Kentucky. He's an author. And he responds by, in the era of satellite photography, there's no such thing as a secret military base, only a base that you're not allowed into because it contains secrets. So Homey Airport, aka Area 51, is secret in the sense that you can't go into it without the right clearance, but everyone knows where it is and it's perfectly visible on Google Earth. Military bases also tend to have a lot of military vehicles moving in and out, so that's kind of a giveaway. There are no such bases in Kentucky so far as I'm aware of. So, what do you think about that comment?
I think that's wild because they're basically attempting to justify the
Yeah.
fact that it's quote unquote secret, but yeah.
I like that is one
It makes
stupid.
it skeptical, it makes you more skeptical. It looks like they're more like, oh, okay, obviously you're sus. You're definitely way more suspect.
Yeah. It sounds like a stupid man that just wants to follow the leader. You know what I mean? You know how we talk about sheeple?
Yes.
That's basically what it is. Like,
Mhm.
oh no, there's nothing wrong going on there. That's
There's nothing to be concerned about here. What? What do you mean you saw something strange happening? No, but look over here at this pretty pony. Like, that's how they do with telling us about the aliens. Like, now all of a sudden, we have aliens and stuff that we can equate to. And like, what else is going on? There's wars all of a sudden. Like, the wars that have nonstop all of a sudden started happening consistently. Like, we had Russia and Ukraine. Now we have Israel and Palestine. And it's crazy because for stuff that supposedly has nothing to do with us, we're so strong on our stance about stuff that's going outside of our country.
yeah.
So, like, why would you be arguing for something that has nothing to do with you? Like, for me, my prime example is, why would you be blocking my content if it has nothing to do with you, or it's like there's no wrong, you don't have any parts of it? So why would we be going there and worrying about what they're doing if we don't have any parts of it? Oh, those are our friends. Who? Which side are we claiming? Everyone's saying Israel, Israel, Israel. Yeah, but like, 1 minute it's Israel, and then the next minute it's Palestine. And like, like I said, I feel like America is just, their hand is too deep in the cookie jar.
Oh, it gets even crazier. The other day, my dad, he likes to get on freaking he likes to get on freaking YouTube and watch videos, just random stuff. And he was watching a video of where Israel is freaking is doing a military build-up. They're gonna go and freaking do some more shit to the Palestinians, you know, and they're just sitting there airing it on YouTube like it's no big deal, you know. I remember watching that crap when I was a kid and back in the 70s, and I didn't like seeing it back then, you know.
Right.
And now they're just posting that shit up on freaking YouTube like it's something entertaining.
Oversaturation kind of gets people desensitized, and when they're desensitized, they allow stuff to happen that elsewise may not have, and they kind of ignore it while it's happening.
Yep. Actually, I could be wrong. Before Maryland, there's West Virginia, so it could be on the border of West Virginia and Kentucky. Let me find Kentucky real quick, yeah. Because it's just a small strip, believe it or not. It's not. Yeah, here we go. And I really want to have the terrain more than anything else. I've got to find out where the border of West Virginia is. It's right there on the border of West Virginia, and it is a military establishment. It's a mountain. But first I gotta find that mountain. Isn't that crazy? I-64. But 64 highway, I believe, or Interstate 64 is the one that goes right up to it, and then it stops being 64 and becomes 79.
Oh, I was thinking of Route 66. I was like Route 60, but no, it's 66. I was thinking it was the same thing.
It does like a curl around. Like you literally have to go around this big mountain that's right there on the eastern part of Kentucky, and it's a huge mountain. Yeah, it's something else. But yeah, it's actually right on the border of. Here we go. It's right around Huntington.
And what do they say what do they do there?
That's the thing, man. Nobody ever, like even truck drivers, whenever truck drivers go to deliver, they have to actually get out of their trucks and they have to go sit in a little room and drink coffee while the truck is taken and backed up and unloaded, so the driver doesn't see anything. And
Oh wow.
and he doesn't even sit on the inside of the fence. He has to sit on the outside of the fence, inside of the little bitty building that you go to. And being honest, I don't even see it up here. I see the West Virginia frickin' Kentucky border, but I don't even see it showing as a mountain that's being in the area. That's pretty crazy. It's the first time I've actually looked too.
Right.
So
You can share it?
yeah, I can. It kind of makes me wonder because I know it's there, but it's not showing that it's there. There we go. Got Eastern Kentucky. And yeah, there we go. I don't know how well you can see that, but and where
Yeah,
I
I
was
see here.
where I was talking about is right up here around Huntington and
Huntington, Kentucky, right?
yeah. You
Cincinnati.
and
Can you do the satellite one?
I think, oh wait, yeah, you're right. I can do the satellite one. That'd be better. West Virginia. There's Kentucky. Now see, Fort Knox is right here.
That's what we were talking about. Okay, Fort Knox. I thought that was in Texas, but it's not. It's Fort Worth that's in Texas, right?
Yeah. And let me get my, yeah, see, and like right here would be where I'm talking about. You got Kentucky here, Lexington here, and then right down in this area. And there is a huge ass mountain that is right in there somewhere. And
I'm surprised we're unable to see it because it all looks kind of like it's a plane, a flat plane.
you gotta understand too, this is a freaking nightmare. I mean, traveling through this area in the United States is probably one of the craziest things that you can do.
A lot of back roads and like old
Yeah.
dirt road type things. Yeah.
You could literally drive yourself off the edge of a freaking mountain and not even know it until it was too late. It could literally just go around a corner and all of a sudden you're over the side and dead.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not funny. Kind of funny.
Yeah. This is this is the bad place. This is where all the spooky stories happen too, like the Sasquatch and the freaking Wendigo and Dogman. Well, Dogman happened up in Oregon and stuff too, but yeah, it's like right here. And Willow Ridge.
Willow Ridge sounds like some stuff for stuff, and Yaki sounds like some stuff would go down in those areas.
Mm-hmm. Not. It could be Mount Tyler or Tyler Mountain. Yeah. Cause. Yeah. Wait. Let me. In West Virginia. Yeah. The tiny West Virginia. No. Sugar Grove Station is a national security communication site located near Sugar Grove in Pendleton County. A bunker at the Green Barrel Resort in West Virginia. Now that is West Virginia, right? I am getting the area correct. Yep, that's in West Virginia. Then underground.
Mink Shoals. I've been there before. What's in Mink Shoals?
Mink Shoals.
That's South Carolina, right? Charleston, South Charleston. That's South Carolina. Or is it West Virginia has parts called Charleston too, as well?
South Charleston, right there.
I thought that was in South Carolina.
Yeah, Falling Rock. And secret bunker in the Green Barrel Resort in West Virginia. Once a top secret U.S. government relocation facility for Congress, the Greenbrier Bunker is now open to visitors interested in learning about blah blah blah. In a town dominated by secrets untold stories behind the secret military bases. Now they're talking on that one about Sugar Grove. Sugar Grove. Let's see what Sugar Grove Station is. Sugar Grove Station is a national security agency, NSA communication site located near Sugar Grove in Pendleton County, West Virginia. According to a 2005 article in the New York Times, the site intercepts all international communications entering the eastern United States. Activities at the site previously involved the Navy Information Operations Command, Naviacom. In April 2013, the Chief of Naval Operations ordered that the Naviacom support base be closed by September the 30th, 2015. As a result of the determination by the resource sponsor National Security Agency to relocate the command's mission, the naval base is being repurposed as a private-owned healthcare facility for veterans, while the NSA listening station to the south continues to operate. Yeah. So, yeah, you're not getting nothing there. And that is weird to me, because I do know that there is a freaking mountain there, and it's not even showing up, not on the topography at all. I mean, do you see it?
Not here. If you zoom in, does it show more where it usually show? Mm-mm.
Let me get
Mm.
more into the area that I know of. Okay, so there's Maryland right here. This is Virginia. It's right around in here. And there should be a mountain in this area. Tyler Mountain.
That's what you're just speaking about, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Charleston, West Virginia. Yeah.
And then there's Tyler Mountain Stables. And just Tyler Mountain, West Virginia. I still don't see the actual mountain.
No, it doesn't. It looks like it's all flat. Well, maybe those are trees. Like you see that those are trees, but I don't see to where it's a significant
Yeah.
ridge or yeah, where you can see the uprising in the terrain. I don't know.
And see, this is a part of the Appalachian Mountains. I mean, it shouldn't be like that.
It should be rigid, more jagged. Yeah.
That's just kind of craziness right there when you look at it.
They've been hearing we've been doing research, and they found out today was conspiracy day. They're not going to add to our shenanigans. The map, the map will go back to normal at 7:15. Next thing you know, the mountains will reappear.
Mount Olive. That
Every
sounds,
church in every area is called Mount Olive. That's why there's always a one Mount Olive church somewhere.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Mount Moriah Baptist Church, Harvey Creek Church. They got all the churches right here. Kim's Greenhouse. Now, see, I do find that kind of suspicious though that it's like that because, let's see, we can come over here and you'll see what I'm talking about. Come over here to frickin' Illinois-Missouri border. All of this is the Appalachians. You see that?
Yeah.
You see that formation?
With the dots and stuff.
Yeah. All of that white stuff is mountain. And then it just kind of dies off there, you know what I mean? Like, and then it becomes cities and stuff like that. But that's pretty strange how it does that. Louisville, Kentucky. Now this right here looks like it's all one big mountainous area, right near Lexington. And Sterling.
Sterling, I know Sterling. I don't know if it's in West Virginia though, but I heard of Sterling.
We can find out real quick. No, it's near Lexington, Kentucky. But then, like, all this area right here to West Virginia and even beyond just becomes like flat. And I know that terrain's not like that. That's pretty interesting. Supposedly ends right here. Owensville, around Winchester. And then it just kind of bottoms out and flattens. So that right there is interesting all by itself. Now this Sugar Grove is the one they were talking about. It was just a naval secret naval communications. They were basically spying on everybody's conversation. So, you want to go on to the MK Ultra?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so, yeah, did I give that copy? Did I post that up?
No, well, this is the only thing I have is
Okay,
the one with the
I
military.
got you. I've seen it. There we go. There's MK Ultra if you want to check that out, and I will change the view on there to where it'll be on
Oh,
here.
it started raining? Oh, I want to go outside now.
Oh man.
It was pouring down rain. We took a walk, and
Uh-huh.
it started pouring down rain. Cause like to go get coffee is literally right down the street, and I was gonna take a car, but it's a waste. And when we on our way home, it started raining, and we're like singing with our mouths open, and it just felt so freeing, like so refreshing. Like everyone else is like running for cover, like the Wicked Witch of the West. I'm melting, and our asses are out there dancing and twirling and stuff. Oh
Yeah.
man, it felt so nice. It felt so necessary. I just thought it was funny everyone else's reaction. And they have cars and stuff. We're literally walking and not even feeling away, and they're like the fact that they touch water, they're gonna like burn or something. Like, oh my god, the water, the water. It's like, dude, we can tell who's never showered out of these type bars. Like it's literally water, and they're like freaking out. But I mean, like, and it's the guys more than the girls. You would think the girls because of their hair or something like that. No, it's like men. Oh my god, oh my god, it's so wet. It's so wet. It's like, oh my god, it's so wet. It's so
So,
weird.
do you want to read now?
I will.
Okay.
Project MK Ultra was an illegal human experimentation program. Hillary Clinton, excuse me, designed and undertaken by the United States Central Intelligence Agency (CIA) and intended to develop procedures and identify drugs that could be used during interrogations to weaken people and force confession through brainwashing and psychological torture. It began in 1953 and was halted in 1973. MK Ultra used numerous methods to manipulate its subjects, allegedly halted, let's just say that. MK Ultra uses numerous methods to manipulate its subjects' mental states and brain functions, such as the covert administration of high doses of psychoactive drugs, especially LSD, and other chemicals. That's crazy. See, Robot should have been here for that.
Mhm.
Psychoactive, especially LSD, and other chemicals without the subject's consent. Electroshock, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, isolation, verbal and sexual abuse, and other forms of torture. Wow. MK
Mhm.
Ultra was preceded by Project Artichoke. It was organized through the CIA's Office of Scientific Intelligence and coordinated with the United States Army Biological Warfare Laboratories. The program engaged in illegal activities, including the use of U.S. and Canadian citizens as unwitting test subjects. MK Ultra's scope was broad, with activities carried out under the guise of research at more than 80 institutions. I just literally talked about this on my show yesterday without mentioning MK Ultra, but just talking about these practices happening. That's wild.
Yeah.
80 institutions aside from the military, including colleges and universities, hospitals, prisons, and pharmaceutical pharmaceutical companies. Had that convo with Robot the other day as well. The
Mhm.
CIA about the pharmaceutical companies bribing people, and he's like, "Well, no, it's just incentive." And I'm like, "Well, no, it's definitely bribery. To hey, use my drug, and I'll take you to St. Thomas." The CIA operated using front organizations, although some top officials at these institutes were aware of the CIA's involvement. MK Ultra was revealed to the public in 1975 by the Church Committee of the United States Congress and Gerald Ford, the United States President's Commission on CIA Activities within the United States, the Rockefeller Commission. Investigative, that's so that way we can look like we're innocent. We'll tell you
Yeah.
about it so it looks like we didn't have anything to do with it. Idiot.
Mhm.
Investigate, because we're rich enough to pretty much shut you up regardless. We'll just toss you a couple of dollars and you won't even care if we did it. Investigative efforts were hampered by CIA Director Richard Helms, ordered that all MK Ultra files be yeah, right, be destroyed in 1973. The Church Committee and Rockefeller Commission investigations relied on the sworn testimony of direct participants and on the small number of documents that survived Helms' order. In 1977, the Freedom of Information Act requested uncovered uncovered a cache of 20,000 documents relating to MK Ultra, which led to Senate hearings. Some surviving information about MK Ultra was declassified in 2001.
Now hold on. Uh, you hit on some stuff I noticed you were really interested in talking about. You said last night you did your stream on one of the
Mind
topics.
control by the government and manipulation and people being paid. Like, imagine growing up in a poor family and then someone enters the hospital room and says, hey, if you let us chip your kid, because they act like these brain chips just started happening, but the US military has been using brain chips for decades to communicate with each other without being found out by their enemies. And so it's obvious that if they've been using it for stuff to to defeat enemies, of course it would be utilized in order for people to be able to be more compliant. This MK Ultra really kind of explains that and adds to it, confirms it more so, because that's the whole point of getting people to kind of do what they would not normally do under regular circumstances, but being coerced into it, to being manipulated into it, mind controlled into it. Like they said, torture. There's a lot of different things. But just think about using this technology and just overall on the scale of how we're overly saturated with these type of things. We see sexual abuse all the time to the point we become desensitive to it. Like, it's so crazy when I hear people they'll be like, well, no one wants to hear your sad story. It'll be a woman talking about when she got drugged and she got raped, and it's like no one cares. But that's because we've heard it so many times. It's become the norm. It's no big deal. People will, if you're a poor family and your kid, and the government feels like they would like to experiment with you, of course you're going to take $20,000. Sounds like a lot of money if you have no money. Like, oh wow, $20,000. Yeah, $20,000 for the record, I could spend it in a month, 2 months. If I budget correctly, I can, of course, can invest and change it. But if we're just talking about $20,000 straight expenses, give me 2 or 3 months, and it's gone. Because I'm talking, it's careless spending. So just imagine if you have no money, you're not used to touching money, and you get offered $20,000. It's not a lot of money. I hate to break it to people. Most people cannot stretch that 20 for 2 or 3 months. I can do that because I budget and I invest. Most people are going to have it gone in a week or two, especially if it's the only money they're used to. That's why people clown people at tax season so much, because during tax time, the first thing people want to do is go run and get a car. I don't understand how every single year you need a car, and how you got a car with your taxes last year, you got a car with your taxes the year before that, and the year before that. At what point do you not have to do that? And it's just crazy because we're not investing our money. So people know this. They know the mentality. Hey, money over everything. So I'm going to tell you, hey, I'd like to have mind control, manipulation. That's how people think people are informants, but they're not. They're literally chipped inside of the brain, and then they're able to tell, okay, so this is where the crime is happening. This is what's going on over here. This is what's happening over here. And then for them to talk about how it stopped, but Hillary Clinton was caught up in the MK Ultra. So for it to be, oh, now it stopped in 1973, it didn't stop. It just got more, we were more careful with trust with this information. Same with being blackmailed. People, I think it's crazy because we'll have celebrities or people that are there's allegedly A1 celebrities, but the people in the forefront, okay, we have the people that we can recognize the face. You know the face of Beyonce. You know the face of Nicki Minaj or Drake or Elon Musk. You know the faces of these people. So you'll know who they are when you see them. We're not going to tell you who pays Beyonce. You don't know the face of the people that pay Beyonce. You don't know the...
No, wait. That brings up a thing that I actually wanted to talk to you about, because I know you get into a lot of topics that involve Kanye West and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But with MK Ultra, with the Hollywood stars and everything, and the singers and stuff like that. You know about that, right? Like Kanye and them even talk about it, where freaking these actors and these musicians are freaking being brainwashed by MK Ultra.
But they're not being brainwashed by MK Ultra. They're submitting to MK Ultra. They know the contingencies. It's not like all of a sudden someone kind of shoots a chip in their brain while they're asleep. It's one of those things, hey, this is what we like to do for an exchange of a nominal fee. And they take the money. And since they take the money, there's no choice. That's why all of a sudden they'll be getting sick. They're getting migraines every single day because you feel like you're going to go against what we already paid you to do. Like it's a lot of celebrities are so caught up in the hype and so caught up in the status. But like it's crazy because the people that are paying them, we didn't really know Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, some people did, but the public did not know Jeffrey Epstein's face until his scandal came out. You
Yeah.
understand? No one knew who he was, but we've always known Beyonce. You know what I mean? And allegedly she's been to his island because they put these pawns out here and they think they're so on top of the world because they're rich. But the real rich people are not showing their face. The real rich people, you cannot place them. They can be walking down the street next to me. If they'd like to be able to select a target, they cannot be recognizable. So then you
Yeah.
have them now downloading new bodies. Shout out to Mr. Musk for helping people. So he's getting his bread because he can help people turn into other people that they're not. And then these people are utilizing these to cause harm or allegedly you're not supposed to do that. Those are one of the contingencies. But you can just say it was a defect in the chip. You can say, I didn't know, man. It made me act crazy. And now, you feel me? And now if I have a case, now I have a case against you, but my case is going to have to tell on you for giving me the chip. So you're not even going to let that be a problem because now I have to tell on you and you're going to make sure that no one knows that it's connected to, that I did this in connection to something that you made accessible to me. They think
Yeah.
Kanye West is a whole different person now. And the crazy part about it is, it's like when he started tripping, allegedly tripping, like Kanye was just throwing a temper tantrum. He was straight throwing a temper tantrum. He felt like he's like king of the world and he can say whatever he felt like saying. Excuse me. But half the stuff that aren't even views that he supports. Excuse me. It literally acting out and doing stuff for attention. Have you ever noticed? Maybe you don't notice, but if you ever notice when there's a topic of discussion, especially when it comes to music and Kanye, it's always a comparison to him and one other person, Drake. There's never a comparison to anyone else. Like, oh, it's never is Kanye better than Kendrick, or is Kanye better than J. Cole, or it's always Kanye and Drake, Kanye and Drake. It's this ongoing ridiculous saga. Like nonstop.
Well, like even with Drake though, okay, if you stop and look at his behavior, all right, who's always showing up on freaking Good Morning America?
Look, have you seen a Nautica? I told you this before, or I thought I did.
Yeah.
That Nautica sign or that Notica, whatever, it's a shin. It's a shin. Like
Yeah.
and then the shin is what they used to burn and embed into the heads of babies when they sacrifice them. His symbol is literally the symbol that he represents. His brand is literally that exact symbol. If you draw the lines in, the
Yeah.
only thing is, and then when you say something like this. It's like it's taken as a joke. You know, everyone says that he was the reason that Triple X got murdered. And true or not true, regardless of the fact, listening to and finding out about Jewish people's ability, no offense to the people that don't do it, but those Alicia Sethlers, the slush funds, Alistair Seekers, that's what they call it, Seekers. And those are where Jewish people have their money to the side to pretty much pay for any problems. Pay to get rid of any problems. And not just Jewish people do that though. Like
a lot of people don't realize either that there is a freaking Jewish mafia. I mean, it does exist.
Yes.
And the
And he
biggest
talks about being in the mob, and then they'll say, "Oh, it's just music." But then he gets offended when people say, "Well, you don't live the stuff in your song." Yes, I do. All my stuff is real. I rap about everything that's true. It's like, so if you rap about everything that's true and everything's true for you, then you have mob ties. And what mob are you tied to? Like, I mean, you're contradicting yourself. Either everything you say is true and real, or you're lying about something.
Right.
And like I think about this a lot because of Yahweh. Like I was telling you what happened with my baby, and that by itself could be deemed a conspiracy. But that app station head, those people came to me. Okay, I wasn't asking any questions. I wasn't hoping people to help me. It wasn't anything for them to feed off, but they sought me out. They allowed the algorithms to aid and assist in them being able to locate me. Once I was located, they would show up. Drake consistently would show up. And eventually, like I said, on a drunken night, you can get Drake to confess anything. And I have proof of that. Like he will confess anything. And when I tell you, they told me about my son. And to this day, if you go onto that app, my child has a profile. You want me to tell
Yeah.
you why they can't get rid of it? Is because then it's obvious someone has access to it. That's a case all in itself. So what they're going to do is eventually start wiping dead accounts, is what they call it. But that's only because they're covering their tracks. I've already recorded it. Cover your tracks, sweetie. We have a
Oh,
screen record. No big deal. But these people do it, and no one believes because they think that you're just talking. Everyone
now,
blames everything on the
I,
Illuminati.
now you just mentioned you covered your tracks. Now, let's get on to the Rockefeller Commission and the United States President's Commission and all that.
What does Rockefeller look like? Do you like?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but he's
No.
one of the richest people in the world.
Exactly. Now, kind of go into that so that you can kind of expand on that because you got a reaction when you read that.
Well, you see, my whole thing is because we know about the gold, oil, and diamonds. So that's why people are so anti quote unquote religion. But religion, spirituality, and connection to universal sources, all different things. And when we say gold, when we say God, a lot of people disassociate with because of gold, oil, and diamonds. Rockefeller's oil, Oppenheimer is gold, and then Rockefeller. What's his Warburg?
J.P.
Diamonds.
Morgan.
Yeah, JP Morgan. Well, JP Morgan, is the bank, but
It's all
it's like,
consolidated now, though.
well, we have to. This is how we cover it. Because listen, what I've learned, and I learned this from Wolf of Wall Street, if you get someone else to kind of take on the business, or if you partner, or and you kind of develop your business, so yeah, where you partner and you outsource, it becomes a whole new case. So if that's what they do when the feds are getting hot on you, when they are starting to get a lot of attention, and they like to from the new people who haven't learned the code yet, who haven't learned that, hey, we let these guys slide with all their bullcrap. No, this bullcrap is going on here. You know what I mean? And then
Hmm.
they would like to stand up for justice. What happens is they have to like incorporate other people, because once they do that, it's a whole new case. They have to start the investigation from the ground up to include all things and everyone involved. And so that's why you'll see to where, like you said, it's consolidated all of a sudden. People really do this in order for them to avoid accountability and responsibility. With Jeffrey Epstein, like, people hate Trump. I love Donald Trump because he's like the biggest infiltrator of our time. No one recognizes that. You're like, oh, he was at these parties too. Well, you're not going to be able to tell us what's going on the inside of the party if you're outside the door hoping to get in. And
Yeah.
so you know what I mean? And no one likes to believe in that. But I having known Donald Trump when I was growing up as a kid. And it's just like, hey, come here. He's like your Uncle Donnie, like, da, 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 da. Like, he's a cool dude at the homeboys. Like, you sit here, my papa calls him DT. And they used to have these barbecues in Pleasantville, New Jersey. And it's near Atlantic City, like right outside of Atlantic City. And Mr. Sam would have what they had, the group called the Homeboys. And like, I met Donald Trump, and like, my pop-up like speaks so highly of him because of the type of relationship. He's in the hood with a bunch of melanin people. This is when everyone was saying he's racist. But how can you learn about what the racists are doing if you're not at least pretending to be racist? You
Yeah.
cannot comment on broke people and poor people if you've never been in the bottom or on the gutter, in the gutter with them. Especially not, you know what I mean? Like, you
Mhm.
have to be involved to be involved, and that's just real.
You know what's going on here, right? Yesterday you said that I do all the talking, so now it's your turn.
I didn't say that.
I know.
John said
I
that
know.
during the interview. He said that he didn't get much talking in. I said, well, that sounds familiar, because my interview was like that too. And it was just like, diarrhea of the mouth.
Well, the Rockefeller Commission, what really sticks out to me whenever freaking I see that, it reminds me of the JFK assassination. Okay, and a lot of people, when it comes to the assassination of JFK, keeps forgetting the fact that he was in a relationship with Marilyn Monroe outside of his marriage.
Yep.
Now, Marilyn Monroe ended up committing suicide, supposedly. All right, and now, when it comes to MK Ultra and everything, they have this idea or this belief that it's about taking these women and brainwashing them through psychedelics and the torture that they're mentioning here and the sexual abuse, and they basically turn them into sex slaves.
Oh.
You know, and it just, with me, it seems weird that they brought the Rockefeller Commission in for this, but then when JFK ends up getting assassinated,
Everyone's quiet.
They use the Warren Commission.
Okay.
Well,
look, have you seen the movie Everything is a Rich Man's Trick? It's a documentary.
Yeah.
It shows and documents the position to where the actual gunfire comes from. They show you where, like, the bullet, because I don't want to say we all know, but hopefully we're learning that it was a planned assassination, but it was an inside job. It wasn't to where it was some random hit, and like Orwell was set up to take the fall for it, but he didn't do it. And like the shot they say killed him because there was multiple shots, but what they don't show you is how the car stopped while a guy underneath in the vents in the sewer, where a guy in the sewer shoots him, and like the way the bullet comes out, the bullet goes up and out from his head, not down and through like they show us. And they don't show you where the car stopped. There's marks on the ground. There were marks on the ground so that they knew, because there was a bunch of shots first that never connected. Bomb, 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 bomb. They have the car stop at the position to where the guy is underneath the sewer in order for him to be able to shoot the president without a miss. And then he all of a sudden pops up and from out of the sewer, just like all of a sudden, oh, hey, yeah, I was just chilling, in the sewer. That's what I do. No big deal type thing, without even a question. Like, this stuff happens all the time. And as long as you comply, they pay you and they'll let you get away with it. But how long does this go on? Like, us talking about it, what can we do about it? Like, everybody involved in Yahweh, like, I'm not even playing anymore. I'm going to make sure that everyone that thought it was okay to play about my son, they really, like, we're going to get justice. Because, like, there were so many ways to handle the situation. There were so many ways for people to say, you know what, this is what's going on. This is the best I can do for you in regards, blah, 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 blah. But they thought it was okay to kind of laugh, prolong it, drag it out, disregard the actuality of it. We're not playing anymore. Because see, what is I don't have to download a new body. I myself, everywhere I go, it's so funny. I had a guy today stand in the middle of the street for me, some random guy, just to let us cross. But I'm a nobody. I mean, I'm a legend. A nobody. He's like, hey, you trying to cross the street? He's like, cross. He stood and he was like, I don't care, hit me, I'm doing the right thing, hit me. And I would have ended up getting across. But it was just the heart that he had to say, I'm not going to let nothing happen to you. It's been like this all day. All day long, military people have been coming out of the woodworks and just like making sure that they know. So I'm not really against America to the sense to where it's like, oh, you're doing such horrible stuff, blah, blah, blah. Because again, at the end of the day, my son was saved. A lot of people's kids get their blood drank. They get, you know what I mean? I'm not saying it's right to take people's children, but a lot of these kids are not going to live for you to know about the story. Like, and same with y'all, but that only happened because Drake got mad. He got ticked off because I wasn't responding the way he would hope I would respond. And he put out orders in order for Yahweh to get hurt. And like, it's crazy to me because we do stuff like this and then I get told to where you just have to deal with it. You just have to deal with it. I don't feel like that's fair. I don't feel like we're supposed to kind of just write off these things that are happening around us. I don't feel like we're supposed to disassociate. Like, Rockefeller has his hand in absolutely everything, but we'll make it seem like there's no big deal because Jay-Z, he raps about Rockefeller all the time. Like, do we think it's a coincidence that this young man from the hood, like, you're from Queens, like, what is this like? How does Rockefeller even come to your radar without Rockefeller bringing you to his first? I don't know where you went, but oh, you muted your thing. Do you know you're muted? I wish I could unmute you. It says I can kick you out. It's funny. But anyway, I just, truth be told, the government enlists people of a lower standard, of poor vernacular, like you have nothing, you are nothing, and you'll be willing to do whatever we tell you to do. And so those are the people that they recruit. The people that always dreamed about being rich and, oh, I always saw myself in the big screen and the big lights. Those are the people that get recruited, not the people that are going to think for themselves, not the people that are going to stand up for what's right. They know what they're doing and who they're doing it with, and that's real. I don't care. Like these celebrities can kiss my ass. They drive this work hard, slave, slave, slave. You're comfortable with being broke, slave, slave. You are
Now,
comfortable
let
with
me put in a
raping.
little bit on that Project Artichoke for you too, okay? So, because it's a short little beginning part, and it can kind of go into what they were referring to, that Project Artichoke that came out of MK Ultra, okay? And this is kind of what I was talking about with the actresses and the performers and stuff like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
Project Artichoke, also referred to as Operation Artichoke, was a project developed and enacted by the United States Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, for the purpose of researching methods of interrogation. Initially known as Project Bluebird, Project Artichoke officially arose on August the 20th, 1951, and was operated by the CIA's Office of Scientific Intelligence. The primary goal for Project Artichoke was to determine whether a person could be involuntarily made to perform an act of attempting assassination. The project also studied the effects of hypnosis, forced addiction to a substance withdrawal, and substance withdrawal from morphine and other chemicals, including LSD, to produce amnesia and other vulnerable states in subject. Project Artichoke was succeeded by Project MK Ultra, which began in 1953. So I wanted to add that in too, so that we can.
Listen, 1950s is when television began. That's what I was looking at while you were saying it. Okay, so this MK Ultra, it started in 1951, and ironically enough, the 1950s is when perhaps no phenomena shaped American life in the 1950s more than television. Okay, so now we're giving you like if you cannot understand the manipulation, then it's really not meant for you to comprehend and just be, like we say, sheeple. Because truth be told, what else would they give us direct access to people that you used to have to see? Used to have to go out on stage and see these people. There was no such thing as being able to see it on TV. So imagine, and then we know television. We understand that the channeling and the programming. So you're watching a program. You're watching a program to become programmed. We are channeling you because of the mythical third eye reception that you have, and we're able to intercept all of your thoughts and all of your data. I know for a fact. I know for a fact that those same exact chips that they use for torture, that's why people get suicidal if they watch certain stuff. That's why you can even relate and feel sad if you watch a certain type of event happen on television. That's why we're so passionate about a war that has nothing to do with us, because of the chips that are allowing us to feel a connection to something we have no elsewise connection towards. And the fact that the industry got big in 1950s, and this was starting in 1951, is just like, oh my gosh. That's just great. Radio, film, television, and then books was the last one to be mentioned.
Now The whole thing goes even farther because, like, in the background for MK Ultra, it says during the early 1940s, Nazi scientists working on working in the death camps of Auschwitz and Dachau conducted interrogation experiments on human subjects. Substances such as barbiturates, morphine derivatives, and hallucinogens such as mescaline were employed on experiments conducted on Jews and Russian prisoners of war, which aimed to develop a truth serum which would, in the words of the laboratory assistant to Dachau scientist Kurt Plotner, eliminate the will of the person examined. American historian Stephen Kinzer argues that the CIA project was a continuation of these early Nazi experiments, citing the numerous German scientists who were hired to work for the U.S. as part of Operation Paperclip. American interest in drug-related interrogation experiments began in 1943 when the Office of Strange Services began developing a truth drug that would produce uninhibited truthfulness in an interrogated person. In 1947, the United States Navy initiated Project Chatter, an interrogation program which saw the first testing of lysergic acid, dilithium, LSD-25, on human subjects. In 1950, the Central Intelligence Agency, under the direction of General Walter Bedell Smith, initiated a series of interrogation projects involving human subjects, beginning with the launch of Project Bluebird, officially renamed Project Artichoke on August 20, 1951. Directed and overseen by Brigadier General Paul F. Gaynor, the objective of Artichoke was to determine whether an individual could be made to involuntarily perform an act of attempted assassination. Morphine, mescaline, and LSD were all administered on unknown CIA agents in an attempt to produce amnesia in the subjects. In addition, Project Artichoke aimed to employ certain viruses, such as dengue fever, as potential incapacitating agents. So that
And it says TV developed color in 1953, and so it's just crazy to me because it's like, man, people don't believe that. Like
it's mind blowing. And this stuff has been out in front of people's faces. There's no secret there. I mean, they've got freaking paper. I mean, right there is a freaking redacted secret file that's been blacked out right there in front of your face. You know? I mean, why do they have to freaking black out those freaking those words if it's not something
if it's no big deal, if there's nothing to be hiding? Yeah. I mean, like, they're telling you, hey, we'll tell you a little bit because legally we're supposed to have this stuff disclosed to us because we're affected by it, and it's kind of like our way, like just like the terms of agreement. You give consent in the terms of agreement that you never use to be watched and monitored. Why? I remember they were talking one time about Mark Zuckerberg, who always puts black tape on his camera, on his laptops, and you know, it's just funny to me because you, Mark Zuckerberg, why would you feel like this is something that has to be done type of thing? And I've heard the same thing about Bezos. Now with Bezos, I don't know how true it is because but Mark Zuckerberg, it was almost like a direct quote, and I guess that could be altered too, especially with everything AI. I feel like that's what the push for AI is. to kind of make it seem like people are not doing the stuff that they actually are doing, so they don't have to be held accountable. I told a lawyer, I was talking to a lawyer today, and when they were talking, they were like, well, you have to get a whole lot of people to believe you if you feel like you're going to have a strong case. And it's really sad that these are the people that are in place to help us and to assist us, and they don't even feel like they have a strong enough case to be able to like actually put in the work that'll get results. Because I mean, these people have what is it? What makes them intimidated by them?
Well, for me, I think that a lot of it is because we allowed a lot of these laws to be put in place, you know? Like, I was thinking about it last night because it just crossed my mind, but like, and don't get me wrong, I don't endorse for organized crime, but like what the police force did to manipulate the laws in order to take down freaking the mafia during the time of the Gambino family and before, you know what I mean? They manipulated the law to where they could get away with things in order to freaking do this stuff, which a lot of their tactics were unconstitutional and illegal. But the court systems were able to freaking manipulate and play with the freaking wording and stuff like that so that they could get away with things that they really didn't
Black
have.
law.
Yeah.
The black law. Mm-hmm.
They didn't have the legal right of doing, you know. And it's like I said, I'm not trying to freaking endorse or say that freaking, the mafia or organized crime is a good thing, but you do have to look at it like that. A lot of the tactics they did in order to get the job done were illegal, you know.
And they used the mobs that were operating without being associated as mobs as a guideline, as a blueprint as to how they would operate, but under the contingencies that certain things would happen and that these people would kind of be able to go under the radar for certain things. They were just talking about JP Morgan's bank having the connection to where they were funding or housing a lot of mafia money. But like, one thing you gotta respect about the mob, like, and I know it sounds crazy, but like for their people, it does not matter. Like, these people nowadays, they'll cost you for a couple of dollars, but when it comes to the mob, their loyalty ran deep. Like I said, people can get offered a couple. Hey, can you endorse this girl for a few $1 million or a few $100,000 at this point? Like, oh yeah, I'll make it seem like she's the best rapper or best singer in the world, even if she's trash, because you gave me money. And like, it's crazy because in the mob, and they don't care who they cross in regards. You mean, so you're saying, lie about this person being bad, and or make it seem like this person committed a crime that they did not really commit a crime in regards, because they don't fear or they don't feel any type of loyalty. But the mob, when I sit here and say you cross your people, there's no coming back from that. If you cross your people, if you do the people that have been looking out for you dirty, it's literally off with your head. Like, you're not allowed to get away with shitting on the people in charge. You're not allowed to do that in the mob. Not even just people in charge, just
with the
on your
mafia,
team.
you actually become a part of their family. Like the people that freaking you grew up with, that you consider your brothers and sisters and your parents, they're no longer your family. Like, you become the family, the part of the mafia. So if somebody in your freaking blood family turns around and crosses the mafia, it's your job to take that person out.
Oh my!
You know?
The same thing, yes, or at least allow it to be done. You have to help. Or else now you're disloyal. Now you're a problem. Yep, and I don't know. I like the mob. I love the way they operate. I know it sounds crazy, but they're so nice. They're such good because they protect their own. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know any stronger unit that protects their own. America does not protect their own. These entertainers wash each other up for a new feature. There's no unit as strong as the mafia.
Oh, don't get me started on Hollywood and the mob, okay? Because like I've got a lot of.
Wish they were the mob.
No, I know for a personal fact that the Jewish mafia had tight reins on Hollywood for the longest time, and when it comes to JFK, a lot of people don't understand the history behind his father. When his father, okay, see, his father was a big freaking Hollywood producer. And when he hit the streets of freaking Hollywood and started his own production company and film company, he had to fight a lot of powerful people there, and it got pretty messy. And this was before JFK and anybody in his, like his brothers or anything, freaking was ever born. Okay.
Jewish mafia seem fake to me. They
The Jewish
copycat.
mafia actually ran Hollywood. I
But
mean,
Hollywood, because they mirrored what? Who was running what? The Vatican, or who? You know what I mean? Like who are they mirroring? They're copycatters. Yeah, they're doing mob things, but again, they had someone to look up to. They're
you
not
got your
just. You know what I
finger
mean?
on it.
Like
There you go. You're good. I think. Say something.
me.
Yeah, okay. You had your finger on your microphone.
On doing the thing. No, I think I was just getting cut off. Last night during my stream, I thought it was Mr. Robot. Like, just I'm not even going to flex because the way it happened, it just seems some real hackery-ish. And he, like, my show cuts off. Everybody disappears. I know, because remember, I kept telling you, like, I always have at least 1,000 people at my show. And it had been like that consistently until I started sharing about doing my show. And now all of a sudden, like, there's hardly any numbers. You'll watch the camera screen, like, it'll just disappear. It'll go on and off. Like, it's just weird. I can watch it take pictures of me. Like, it'll flash. Like, it's take a picture. And I can see it doing that. Like, what would be the reason for that to happen? Like, what would be the actual reason for stuff like that to happen? Same thing with OBS yesterday. I set up OBS for me to be able to stream on Rumble. Everything was all systems go until it was time for me to stream. And the next thing you know, it was an issue. I don't know. I just be paying attention and I'm not being quiet no more. You're gonna have to kill me and shut me up. And then even then, I'm coming back from the dead. I always just do it. So, I mean, just give me the quick power up. I mean, like, seriously. They've poisoned me. They shot me in my head. They've done everything to attempt to get rid of me. Everything. They used to beat on me. They've done everything. And every single time I come back stronger. So it's to the point to where I welcome it. I embrace it. Today I was about to, I had a guy kind of, mind controlly tell me like to kind of calm down because I was telling him, I was like, I want them to hit me. He was protecting me from getting hit by a car and we can talk with our minds. So, and I'm telling them, I'm like, I want them to hit me. I want them to hit me so they can see what I can do. Because I honestly would like to be able to just show people that I'm not afraid and what I can do. Especially if I can, well, I always see stuff coming. But like my kid, he can do it too. Like my kid went through a car hit him and he went through the car. And all he felt was his hand get tapped. And I remember the police went so crazy over the situation because we had the right of way. We were allowed to walk across the street and these people hit my baby. And he went through the car and he was just shocked. Like he couldn't believe like what happened. And the police saw and he ran after the guy because they're laughing like ha 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 ha, like it was no big deal that they just said a child. And the police took off after the car and kind of first made sure they let us finish crossing, and then they took off after the car. But like to the day that my baby was like, oh well, it just kind of hurt my hand. It just hurt my hand when that happened. But it's crazy to me because he literally got hit by this car, went through this car, and like was okay. And I watched it, and I mean, I don't know if it's still on camera, but it was at a light with the cameras. So I mean, like, it's not the first time. Like I said, I got shot in my head through the back windshield of my vehicle, and then it went straight out of my head to where at one point, like now it's gotten better. I could always feel where the bullet went in and where it exited out, and then to where it kind of went like it looks like it went over my head, but it didn't go over my head. I died in front of my ex-husband, and he watched me die. And I like Weekend at Bernie's type deal, shook myself back to life. Like literally, just kind of just like how Weekend at Bernie's, whenever you play music for him, he started dancing. I dropped. I remember dying. Like literally, boom! I get shot in the head, and then boom! Now I'm dead. And then it was just getting up. Like right after I died, just time to get back up. Now I'm alive again. And we drive off, and like we're talking about it. And he's like, you're good? I'm like, yeah. He's like, everything feel all right? I'm like, yeah, like just regular stuff. Like And people have been wanting to test this theory, and I've been wanting people to test this theory because every time I have any type of close death encounter, I always come back more powerful. I always come back more powerful. And it sounds crazy, and it sounds like you're just welcoming some type of issues, but it's not that. It's just like people are not that big of a bully, and we're a lot more powerful than we give ourselves credit for. We've been manipulated in our mind to feel. Even you say that, like, well, we
Hmm.
don't have any power. We don't have any, but you have every bit of power. Like, that's why these people do these things,
Well,
because they
like
recognize their power.
now, whenever we're talking about this, though, like I don't know if you're aware of it, but you know about the Unabomber, right?
Yeah, I heard of him before.
Now, when the Unabomber was younger, he was actually in college, and like how they talk about these experiments and everything that they were doing during that time period,
Hmm.
he actually took he took he was a part of it. He went
Yeah,
in
he
there
helped
and
develop them.
no, he went in there and he did the testing and stuff. So like he ends up becoming a Unabomber, and then later on they find out, whoa, hold on, man. Years before all this stuff happened, he actually was a subject in the freaking same experiments that were taking place on college campuses for MK Ultra.
Just like Obama, I mean, excuse me, Osama bin Laden was the true terrorist, but he was trained by us. Like I said,
Hmm.
we have to have someone to point fingers to, even if at one point in time you were on our side. Like I said, people sell out for anything. If it's status, if it's notoriety, all these people have little areas to where they live. Half the people that we think are dead are not dead. Even if you look at Jeffrey Epstein's death, he's not dead. There's no way he could have hung himself. I mean, he was too tall to be able to hang himself. Like, he would have, no matter what, his feet would have touched the ground. And
Hmm.
no one's paying attention to these aspects. It's just like, oh no, they're telling us he's dead. It's no big deal. Well, it kind of is a big deal because kids are still going, oh my gosh, where did I read that it just happened? And there was like a bunch of kids that just all of a sudden they turned up missing. Like, it was so recent. Oh man, I wish I would have took the notes down on it.
Well, now
And
Epstein. Okay, another thing too. Like they found out that Epstein, like you know how that nobody knew his face until all that
yeah.
stuff started. That the thing that is weird about that is they found out that these tabloids had all that information. It was all
Mhm.
collected, and they held it back so that they could freaking get power from it if they had secrets. To,
Blackmail and
yeah.
money. Epstein pays for him to be able to be hidden, to be able to kind of go under the radar. Now it's to the point to where people can just like, oh, you're just lying. So they control the media, they control the narrative to make you sound like you're crazy for believing in
Mhm.
quote unquote the Illuminati. But it's not the Illuminati that are doing these things. These are different type of sectors in which
Well,
they're.
nobody looks at the freaking tabloids, though. You know what I'm saying? Because the
Yeah, of course
tabloids,
not, because you know that
they
it's not supposedly
well, they
nonsense.
put out all the nonsense so that all the people on who's watching TV and listening to what's being on the magazines are just yeah
They think that's the
whatever.
legitimate stuff. Have you seen the Men in Black? When the Men in
No.
Black, he said the tabloids is where you get your real news from, though. Because see, that's the stuff that everyone ignores. So the real stuff is actually in the tabloids. And granted, if we're telling you never to believe the tabloids, that's the narrative. So anything they put out is discredited, even if it's true.
Well,
Oh, that's who I need to talk to.
they've
No.
got stories that they're holding back on because freaking they can make money off of it. Um, they can get influence from it. So, I mean, they literally have caches and caches of freaking information about celebrities, politicians, all that, that they refuse to freaking publish because that gives them power. That's a
Yeah.
secret that nobody knows about. You know what I mean?
Blackmailing them to say, hey, if you
Hmm.
don't do this, I'm going to tell this about you. If you don't let me shake your hand at this event, then these people are going to see these pictures of you hugging this 13-year-old and taking her to your hotel room. Stuff
Exactly.
like that. Yeah. I
So
can
that,
only imagine. You just put a really good idea in my head, though. Unintentionally, it's not your fault. The acts that I do are no reflection of Roger. But yeah.
okay, let me do the description for Project Artichoke real quick, and I'll be done with that one because this one's actually a lot better
I
than
love
that.
conspiracy.
Yeah. Now, Project Artichoke was a mind control program that gathered information together with the intelligence division of the Army, Navy, Air Force, and FBI. In addition, the scope of the project was outlined in a memo dated January 1952 that asked, can we get control of an individual to the point where he will do our bidding against his will and even against fundamental laws of nature, such as self-preservation? Project Artichoke was the Central Intelligence Agency's secret codename for carrying out in-house and overseas experiments using LSD, hypnosis, and total isolation as forms of psychological harassment for special interrogations on human subjects. At first, agents used cocaine, marijuana, heroin, peyote, and mescaline, but they increasingly saw LSD as the most promising drug. The subjects who left this project were fogged with amnesia, resulting in faulty and vague memories of the experience. In 1952, LSD was increasingly given to unknown CIA agents to determine the drug's effect in unsuspecting people. One record states that an agent was kept on LSD for 77 days. Artichoke researched the potential of dengue fever and other diseases. A declassified Artichoke member read, "Not all viruses have to be lethal. The objective includes those that act as short-term and long-term incapacitating agents." The CIA disputed which department would take over the operation. Finally, it was decided that an agent from the CIA research staff, former USA Army Brigadier General Paul F. Gaynor, would oversee it. The CIA sought to establish control over what it perceived as the weaker and less intelligent segments of society, or for potential agents, defectors, refugees, prisoners of war, and others. A CIA report states that if hypnosis succeeded, assassins could be created to assassinate a prominent redacted politician, or if necessary, an American official. The overseas operations took place in locations throughout Europe, Japan, Southeast Asia, and the Philippines. Teams were assembled to manage these operations, and they were told to conduct at the overseas bases operations experiments utilized aliens as subject. Okay, so teams were assembled to manage these operations, and they were told to conduct at the overseas bases operational experiments utilizing aliens as subjects. So basically, at the end, they're saying that they did operations on aliens and stuff. So,
do you think? Do you think that it started with aliens and then they?
No. I honestly believe that this started with mass hypnosis. And a lot of people have this hard time with believing that exists, but I don't. Alright. When you look at the television is created for the sole purpose of influencing the way you see things and you perceive things. Okay, have you ever watched The Outer Limits?
I feel like I watched like 2 or 3 episodes.
It was a cult classic, and at the beginning they kind of get into that when they open up the show. They freaking tell you for an hour they have control over everything you think and you feel and all that stuff. And that's what television does to you. It doesn't matter what you watch, okay? if I take three random pictures, I take a girl and I take a teddy bear and I put them side by side, you get one thought. But if I take a pack of cigarettes and I put it in between them, it creates a whole different way of looking at that whole scene with those three pictures. You see? You get what I'm saying? So I can influence your way of thinking by introducing three separate pictures that are completely unrelated to one another.
Right, right. And now it'll make it seem as if like you'll draw, your brain has to connect. So your brain will formulate the connections regardless for you without them actually being present.
Exactly. See, and they understood that concept and they started experimenting into it. Now, it's just like now, you see these freaking beautiful skyscrapers and you see these freaking nice paved roads underneath them and you think, man, this is great. This is amazing. Look how far humans have gone. We're just the greatest freaking thing that ever freaking hit the universe. You know what I mean? And the reason why you believe that is because you see all these great structures that we've created. You know what I mean? You're hypnotized by the glass and the freaking and the foundations and how beautiful those buildings look. And that's the way that the majority of people who see that scene freaking feel. You know what I mean? That's a form of hypnosis. It's changing your perception on what is actually natural and the way that the human is supposed to actually think.
Do you feel, well, I feel like that's all manipulative and able for us to be able to be easily controlled. Like, I know for a fact New World Order is a real thing, and people attempt to deny those, like, any type of speculation in regards, like, oh no, it's just talk. The facts wouldn't be present if not. How easy is it for you to be controlled and basically put yourself into a concentration camp or get an unnecessary vaccine that's not really a vaccine but really is a chip? You know how long they talked about chipping people before they came out with the vaccine? Like, before COVID even existed, they talked about people are going to have to get a chip in order for them to have their finances read and everything like that. Now they're presenting it like it's cool. They're like, look, now there's a new way to read your text messages. You can read them on your hand and stuff like that. Like, people are so caught up in having the newest of the new without even thinking about the consequences of the receipt. Like, they're so, it's just, I don't know. I don't get it. How can you be so freaking dense? Like, how is it? And it's literally the money. It's literally the money, which they're about to take back with this digital currency transition. But no one believes that. People think that, oh, you're just a hater. No, what they're going to do is tell you that if you have cash, they were doing it for a little while, where they started getting rid of change. You couldn't go inside of, you remember this? This was a couple years. You couldn't go inside of a store and get change. And every single company was encouraging you to be able to use debit or credit. And if you didn't have debit or credit, they didn't have anything for you. You were not allowed to shop at that store. And that happened for a while at stores down here. And then some of the stores just kind of was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. How come we can just kind of not do this anymore with that stuff? But when we come to the overall commands and demands of money, we're too afraid to let it go because we have to have some type of form of control. We have people associate power, stuff that has nothing to do with each other. Excuse me. Having power is having money, and you get money by being a slave, which makes no sense because if you think about slavery, you're working for free. Okay, people say I'm a slave at my job, and they'll say, well, I'm not working for free, but you are. Money itself tells you that it's a form of debt, consolidated debt. Like, hey, here's your debt tender. Pretty much you owe us. We're going to let you borrow this because you say you're good for it. So here you go. That's what you have. People think that it's an increase, but literally it's written on there that it's debt.
Now, I found the part that I was talking to you about deaths that happened because of these experiments. And I can read it to you real quick and see what you think about it. But it's right here in MK Ultra down towards the bottom under the category of deaths. And it goes, given the CIA's purposeful destruction of most records, its failure to follow informed consent protocols with thousands of participants, the uncontrolled nature of the experiments, and the lack of follow-up data. The full impact of MK Ultra experiments, including deaths, may never be known. Several known deaths have been associated with Project MK Ultra, most notably that of Frank Olson. Now, Frank Olson is the guy I was referring to. Olson, a United States Army biochemist and biological weapons researcher, was given LSD without his knowledge or consent in November 1953 as part of a CIA experiment and died after falling from a 13-story window a week later. A CIA doctor assigned to monitor Olson claims to have been asleep in another bed in a New York City hotel room when Olson fell to his death. In 1953, Olson's death was described as a suicide that had occurred during a severe psychotic episode. The CIA's own internal investigation conducted that the head of MK Ultra, CIA chemist Sidney Gottlieb, had conducted the LSD experiment with Olson's prior knowledge. Although neither Olson nor the other man taking part in the experiment were informed as to the extent nature of the drug until some 20 minutes after its ingestion. The report further suggests that Gottlieb was nonetheless due to reprimand as he had failed to take into account Olson's already diagnosed suicidal tendencies, which might have been exacerbated by the LSD. The Olson family disputes the official version of events. They maintain that Frank Olson was murdered because, especially in the aftermath of his LSD experiment, he had become a security risk who might divulge state secrets associated with highly classified CIA programs, about many of which he had direct personal knowledge. A few days before his death, Frank Olson quit his position as acting chief of the Special Operations Division at Detrick, Maryland, later Fort Detrick, because of a severe moral crisis concerning the nature of his biological weapons research. Among Olson's concerns were the development of assassination materials used by the CIA, the CIA's use of biological warfare materials in covert operations, experimentation with biological weapons on populated areas, collaboration from former Nazi scientists under Operation Paperclip, LSD mind control research, and the use of psychoactive drugs during terminal interrogations under a program codenamed Project Artichoke. Later forensic evidence conflicted with the official version of events. When Olson's body was exhumed in 1994, cranial injuries indicated that Olson had been knocked unconscious before he exited the window. The medical examiner determined Olson's death as homicide. In 1975, Olson's family received a $750,000 settlement from the U.S. government and formal apology from President Gerald Ford and CIA Director William Colby, though their apologies were limited to informed consent issues concerning Olson's ingestion of LSD. On November 28, 2012, the Olson family filed suit against the U.S. federal government for the wrongful death of Frank Olson. the case was dismissed in July 13th due to, in part, to the 1976 settlement between the family and government. In the decision dismissing the suit, U.S. District Judge James Boasberg wrote, "While the court must limit its analysis to the four corners of the complaint, the skeptical reader may wish to know that the public record supports many of the allegations in the family's suit, far-fetched as they may sound." A 2010 book by H.P. Albarelli Jr. alleged that the 1951 Pont Saint Esprit mass poisoning was part of MK Delta that Olson was involved in that event, and that he was eventually murdered by the CIA. Early academic sources has attributed the incident to ergot poisoning through a local bakery. Now, I'm going to end it right there with that reading because that was quite a bit of information. So, what's your take on all that stuff that I just read?
I mean, like, it just seems like it's the same message, just from different content in different contexts. It just seems like everything is connected in the way that which you were talking about, how we can put this concept with that concept, and you draw your own conclusion, but in the same breath, I feel like it's being drawn for us here. Like, we're kind of just here. This is the outline of what it is, and then, like, do whatever you will with it.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, like, people talk about this stuff today, and everybody's like, oh, they're just crazy. They're just crazy. And this isn't from crazy people. This stuff is verified. It's government. Right. You know what I mean? This is stuff that actually happened, and it's undocumented. It's no conspiracy because the government's openly saying, yes, this is stuff that happened. You know, some of this stuff might be circumstantial, you know what I mean, because it is on Wikipedia. But at the same time, they also ask them to show, freaking citations for the stuff they say on here. And there are some that need citations, but if you look at a lot of this, they have citations to go along with everything they're saying. So I find that this article is legit, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I mean, but most of the stuff is legit, even if it's seemingly discredited by popular belief. But that's just because people are attempting to maintain a certain type of image.
Yeah, and they don't want to look bad. You know, yeah. Who wants to talk about this stuff when it's just gonna brand you as a crazy person? You know, one of those people with freaking tinfoil hats.
Me, I'm at the point to where truth is so important that I don't care how it makes me look, because I'm so because if I don't say anything, everyone has this concept that they have to be quiet about stuff, and then that's why it keeps happening. I don't want my kids to grow up in the same world that we have right now. I don't feel like that's fair. I feel like if I have the power, not even just because the power starts with your mindset, but if I have the power and the passion to be able to change this world, it's my direct responsibility. I feel like I'm a clown, a loser, and a lame if I sit here and know that stuff is messed up, and I keep allowing it to be messed up without standing up for justice. And that's just real.
Yeah. How long have we been on here? Have you been keeping track?
It's almost 2 hours.
Damn.
Almost 7. Yeah, I know. We're getting ready to go. I have to get ready to go too, because I got really, really hyped, because I gotta get stuff done.
I didn't even realize we were on here this long, to be honest with you.
I gotta yeah, and I have to pee. So let's go ahead and end it so I'm really pumped right now, because it just, like, I was looking for answers and it literally just fell in my lap, like, God, it's so good. I gotta go. And
all right.
I appreciate you, and I will listen in tomorrow, but we have basketball, so for the first half an hour I'll be present. Actually, the first hour, because what I learned is the game does not even start till 7. So yeah, I'll be here tomorrow for Tech Talk.
I will talk to you later.
All right, have a good night. Be safe and thank you. Hey, I might hit you up later so you can help me because I don't know why it wouldn't stream to Rumble even though it was supposed to, and I just literally copy and pasted the embedded code. So I might play with it first myself, but I might have to hit you up.
All right,
All right, thank you. Have a
I'll
good.
be able to do it.
You
Talk
seen
to
me
you.
last night? I was calling you like Beetlejuice. You should have heard me in my house. I'm like, Roger,
Yeah, no,
Roger,
you even
literally
tagged
yelling your
me.
name.
You even tagged me on Discord. I seen that on John's
Yeah,
on his
I was
thing.
getting desperate. I was like, help me, Roger. And I'm yelling that out loud in the house. So it's funny to me, only me being here, but I just could imagine watching me on TV. But anyway, I'll talk to you later.
All right, I will
Have
see
a
you
good night. Be
later.
safe. Thank
You, you too. And I hope you guys enjoyed. And thanks for stopping by and checking us out. We'll talk to you later.